So before they all run up here, and I have a crowd, by the way. I like to have a crowd when we do these things. I'm joking, of course. This is a little unique because we have an organization that's being recognized out of Ward 4 for a couple of different reasons. Not only the fantastic work that they do in Hatfield that you're about to hear about, but also because I'm particularly proud that a number of them are actually not, they don't all just live in Hatfield, or many of them do, but many of them live in Ward 4, which I tease my fellow commissioners that is the best ward in the entire township. So tonight is the night when we can be a little kind of braggadocious as it relates to who lives where. So I'll ask everyone who is here, who is a woman representative of the Society of St. Vincent de Paul, to come join me and stand behind me. And I'm sure you're all dying right now. You didn't expect any of that, but no worries, we won't have many of you speak, just a few. Okay, so let me explain to you why we brought a crowd tonight. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what the society does. Are they pinned up against the wall? Is that what's going on?
Yeah.
It could not get any further away from the recognition. It's like it's some kind of, it's like a poisonous thing, I'm sure. Their humility and humbleness shows, obviously. So let me tell you a little bit about the organization, and I think after you learn what the organization does, and then I tell you what they do on a regular basis, I think you're going to say, oh yeah, this makes total sense that this organization as a whole would be recognized. There is a little history related to the organization, not just in Hatfield, but internationally. So the Society of St. Vincent de Paul, those of you who are unfamiliar, is a non-profit organization that's been helping the poor since it was founded in Paris, France in 1833. The local conference here, located out of St. Maria Goretti, has about 30 members who meet regularly, and the singular purpose is to aid people who need things when it comes to either financial support, clothing, food, furniture. It is helping the poor and helping neighbors. And it is the kind of the grassroots, tires on the ground effort to help those who are in need, whether it is a short-term need or sometimes it is kind of a long-term assistance of some sort. And I'll give you some quick statistics. In 2024, just this group out of Hatfield assisted more than 600 neighbors in the area, Hatfield and otherwise. That's just 1 year. Distributed 2,000 bags of groceries. Distributed more than $140,000 in aid, most of it for housing assistance. And these numbers represent a 25 to 30% increase from the previous year, and the need in our community continues to grow. Unfortunately, not to be a dark cloud, but unfortunately over the last couple of years with the pandemic and then rising inflation rates, things have gotten economically more difficult in the sense that people need financial assistance. And these are the people who humbly and unrecognized are helping those people who are avoiding a catastrophic moment where they might lose their home or be asked to leave their apartment, or might not have heat, some kind of electrical need, they need to pay for the electric bill. Where do they go? They make a phone call over to St. Maria Goretti, and one of the volunteers answers the phone. 2 volunteers gets assigned to be a representative of that person and to meet with them to determine what the needs are and what the organization can do. Close to 3,000 hours of service is given to neighbors on an annual basis. And these are the things that are people keeping, like I said, keeping neighbors warm, keeping the lights on, and keeping the water running at a time when it is most critical, when they most need it. So that's what the organization does. Oh, look, I should mention, generally, the organization runs on donations. So this is 100% of the money that is received goes to the aid of the people who need it. And this is not, it's a non-profit for sure, but it is, this is from the good graces of not only the parish and other parishes and other organizations, but people who contribute like you and me, and local companies who will contribute to last month's trivia night, right? They will contribute money not only to be a part of it, but because they know that the money is going to be going to a good cause. So that's what the organization does. So now let me tell you a little bit about these folks. I'm not going to call them up individually, although I'll tell you, Mary Chantry. Mary Chantry is the head of the organization, and she's probably dying right now too. And she keeps everyone else in line. I've been to meetings and does an absolutely wonderful job. And quite frankly, she could be a recipient in her own right. She is the head of this organization that does this wonderful work. Terry Peck, not to single out everyone, but if you didn't realize it, Terry was a recipient of one of the recognized women from last year. So let me tell you from a first-hand experience what this organization looks like. You go into a meeting and there are some men, they're helpful, right? But we're smart enough to know who's running the show, and rightfully so, because they do a wonderful job. I see Dan's smiling at me right now. But you go into a meeting, you sit down, and it is this beautiful moment where you see people talk about, okay, I went out to a house, and it's all done confidentially, so nobody knows who you're talking about. I went out to a house and we met with somebody, and this is what their needs are, and this is what their concerns are. And suddenly it is a brain trust of people who have experience and resources to say, maybe we can help them with this. Have you thought about that for housing? Did you ever think about maybe contacting such and such? Sometimes the need is to make sure that they don't become homeless. Other times we'll help them, the organization will help them get a trail pass so that they can get to work and back, or food because they have a short-term need, or oftentimes it's money for housing and, like I said, electrical bills. And it is these volunteer experts talking about the best way to get the best resources to the neighbor that needs it the most at the right time. And almost from my experience, from what I can tell, it's not 6 months down the road, so you can't just kind of say, okay, we'll get to it when we get to it. The need is immediate, and then somebody goes out and immediately approve it, and then somebody goes out and immediately takes care of it. It is an inspiring thing to see, and I just watch it in awe each of the times that I've sat in a meeting and I've watched it happen. They are, like I said before, they're resident experts when it comes to resources, dealing with federal, state, county, local opportunities and resources for people. And so they are not just people who are giving their time on a regular basis every week, but they are also have trained themselves to become experts in a field where they can help people at their worst moment, and they can really help the neighbor as best, they're best suited to help the neighbor more so than anyone else. So on behalf of Hatfield, there's 18,000 of us. Many of you live in Ward 4, but on top of but in particular, on top of Hatfield in general, I want to thank you for everything that you do. I'm going to ask Mary just to come up and as head of the organization, just if you have a word or two.
Thank you, Tom. I really want to thank Tom and Aaron and all of the commissioners for honoring us and for always supporting the society. Tom really didn't leave me much to say, but I do want to say a few words about the extraordinary women and men of our organization. We represent a variety of ages, many different careers, from teachers and nurses to IT professionals, data programmers, insurance managers, or wives and mothers and grandmothers. But the common thread we all share is generosity and giving not just time, but our hearts to help those in need. It's through this service that we realize the profound impact of lifting up others and creating a world that values kindness and mutual support. Simply put, our mission is to serve Christ and the poor and the needy. We do offer practical assistance, we advocate for social justice, and we nurture spiritual growth. Mother Teresa, a woman of profound history and a symbol of service reminds us of the importance of small acts with great love. She said, "Not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love. It is through these small acts, whether it's lending a listening ear, offering food, or helping someone rebuild their life, that we create positive change for those we serve." And thank you for helping us to do that.